Today, I've been checking out MechWarrior 5 Clans, which is out now for £41.99, or if you have Game Pass, you can grab it on there. In MechWarrior 5 Clans, you are a new pilot in the Smoke Jaguar clan, and you have to lead your squad planetside and kick some ass, with the main question being,
Hans, are we the baddies?
Gameplay wise, and just to point out, I don't know a lot about the lore of MechWarrior, but I have played most of the games. Your mission is to retake Terra, or Earth as it's known. However, this is just a small piece in a far larger narrative in a campaign that lasts around 30 hours. There are a wide range of missions, from full-on battles to scout missions where you have to scan facilities and protect prisoners, to more stealthy type ones. In Clans, they have got rid of the open world style approach of mercenaries and adopted a more linear path to missions. Basically, here's your next mission, complete that one and on to the next. Another one of the big changes is that you can choose the more traditional control style where you have to rotate the body and legs of your mech separately, or you can go for like a more modern first-person shooter feel. To be fair, I didn't mind the new control scheme, but I know some of the purists will absolutely hate it. I would say though that this game could be summed up in a whole by a more arcadey feel. From the UI to the gameplay, it's definitely been designed as a console first game to try and capture some of them FPS players. Moving on to the story, obviously no spoilers, not that I can remember most of it because it's terrible. It has zero humor or self-awareness. I skip pretty much every cutscene after the first view. Believe it or not, in this game there's almost 90 minutes of cutscenes. Luckily you don't need a good story to jump in a giant mech and have some fun. Some of the lore and story you'll get from radio chatter from your teammates, but this was again quite dull. Some of the story and lore you'll get from radio chatter with your teammates, but this was again, it was quite dull, boring, and the attempts at humour just fell really flat. They almost sounded like AI, like they really didn't seem to react in the right tone to a lot of the situations. Combat wise, I'm pleased to say overall it's fairly decent. It's really fun. Lasers dance across the battlefield, mechs are blowing up. It looks really good in parts. Again, it's been simplified, but I wouldn't say it impacts too much. But for some reason they have added in boss fights, and it's like them boss fights where you gotta hit a specific area first before you can drain the health. It just wasn't needed, and none of them really added much value to the game. I don't know why they're there. One thing I do have to mention though, if you're new to this type of game, the game gets really complicated. For some reason, the developers have went down the path of just not explaining anything at all. It needs way better onboarding. The tutorial especially could be done better, and in the hub area, it drops some hints. The whole interface for purchasing and unlocking upgrades, weapons, and research is not really explained very well. Also, it just doesn't explain at all about equipping things and staying under your mech's tonnage and how upgrade slots work and stuff. However, they have introduced something called omnipods, which basically let you save like a complete loadout. It also comes preloaded with various configurations of weapons, armor, and equipment, and letting you switch the whole lot with just a couple of button presses. Action on the battlefield with your team is controlled via a command wheel, which lets you issue like rapid, follow me, attack the target, ceasefire type commands without taking you out the action for too long. There's also a new overhead map drone type view thing where you can control the action almost like an RTS. This also works pretty well. The AI is decent and a challenge, but your teammates can do some pretty stupid thing. There's also a distinct lack of self-preservation by your teammates. They'll just be like, oh my god, I'm injured, right, I'm dead. You do have to keep an eye on them at times. There are 16 mechs in total, most you'll unlock as you progress through the game, along with the usual skills to research, weaponry to buy, and mechs to upgrade. And you can upgrade your teammates as each gains experience as you play through the game. Graphics wise, I think it looks pretty decent. It can look pretty epic at times with the weapon effects, with your 5 mechs are charging across the battlefields and missiles and lasers everywhere. However, the arenas and maps I wouldn't say are that interesting, and the character models in cutscenes look like something out of Gary's mod, and the hair textures look really, really bad. Sound-wise, I would say on the whole, it's pretty decent, but then in-game voiceovers between the team and banter didn't sound great. The cutscenes though are generally well acted. There's also a boatload of bugs, like it would take me ages to list them all, but I did notice the most on physics, like mechs and tanks would just go flying in the air or flop over and look weird. Mechs would bounce around when they died and stuff, like they were made of rubber. It just didn't look very good in parts. In conclusion, I think this is a decent game, and I think if you've got Game Pass or you're willing to pay just £10 for Game Pass to give it a go, I think it's totally the best option. It's definitely taken some of the complexity out of playing with its control scheme and the UI design, but it still maintains that fun level of just stomping around and piloting the giant mech. The missions generally don't outstay their welcome. The story was just super forgetful and far too many cutscenes. The skip button was a wonderful addition here. And I think the whole outfitting and upgrading your mechs could have been done way better. It's just a bit confusing. I don't think it's quite as good as Mercenaries. I think that's the better game, and also has a lot of mods available to it as well, which make it even better. However, it's still a lot of fun. It's a pretty solid experience, and you know, once they get them bugs ironed out, it'll be even more solid. It's a welcome addition to the game series. Anyway guys, that's all I've got to say. Catch us all later. Goodbye.